Welcome to Pep Talks with Jeannie. I'm your host, Jeannie Pepper. I started doing Pep Talks as a way to inspire you to do intentional acts of kindness and to further the goals of #BlazeItForward. Since its inception, Pep Talks has evolved, and now I use it to interview people actively making a difference in this world through their volunteerism, community service, or careers. My guests are all here because they have dedicated their lives to making this world a better place. Join us as we delve into the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of these truly inspiring and hardworking people. This season, we will be using a panel format in some of our episodes to bring together synergistic guests to discuss topics that weave the social fabric of the world around us. Welcome to another episode of Pep Talks with Jeannie. I have in my studio today my good friend, Christine Devine.
Hello, nice to see you. I love the studio.
Oh, thank you so much.
This is so great.
Yeah, I've been in your studio before too. How does it compare?
Yes, that's right. Well, you got the lighting down, you got the sound down. Those are probably two most important things. Yeah.
So most of you will know Christine from her work at Fox 11 Los Angeles, not to be confused with Fox Entertainment, if anybody cares. But yeah, there's not a time that I can't remember you being on television evening news. I really I can't. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
Was there a time when you weren't?
It's been decades. It has been decades.
Decades. I mean, that says a lot, Christine.
I just did an interview with somebody, and they are as old as I've been on Fox 11.
That's kind of amazing, considering you look exactly the same to me as when we started.
I don't know about that.
Well, you still,
we try.
Yeah, we though.
We try.
It's one of those things that it's a never-ending process of trying. For me, anyway.
Yes.
It's like, I know that I'm eventually going to give up or lose the fight with it, the battle. But, you know, as long as there is any fight in me, I will continue to fight.
This is Southern California.
Right?
Up the game when we know Angelina Jolie lives down the street, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. Correct. I mean, we've got the Real Housewives of Orange County here that I'm competing with.
They set the bar high.
Yeah, very high, very high. But the reason I wanted you in here is you do some pretty incredible things with your platform, and you have helped over 500 children find permanent homes. Is that correct?
Well, I feel like that number might be a little dated only because we haven't updated the numbers in a long time.
So it could be thousands.
Oh, that's very generous. That's a little too generous. But what I do is a segment. It's a story. It's not a nonprofit. It's a story on kids in foster care. That small segment that need adoptive homes.
Yeah.
And so we deal with older kids, special needs, or large sibling groups. So that group alone is so very specific. Not everybody's looking to adopt 5 siblings.
Right.
Right?
That's
Not
hard.
everyone's looking to adopt a 17-year-old. So our segment is very specific, and the fact that we have any adoptions is just so wonderful to me.
It's really amazing. Mm-hmm. And this is every Wednesday or every other Wednesday.
COVID times set us back.
Yeah.
So every Wednesday is not necessarily every Wednesday, but I tried to keep the brand of foster care stories alive on Fox 11. So I'll do other stories, like I'll go with Cal State LA social work students to Sacramento for lobby days.
Oh, that's great.
Right. Or I'll do a foster parent not even tied to Wednesday's Child.
Right.
We had Kids in the Spotlight on the air the other day, and they do filmmaking for youth impacted by foster care to tell their very powerful stories, emotional stories through filmmaking.
Wow.
So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle when it comes to the foster care adoption family.
Right. But, you know, that's good that you can show the whole picture of how much support, how much infrastructure it takes to get these kids to a safe home, a safe permanent home.
And there's so many different organizations that play their different part. Like I said, my part is the news story for that specific group of kids in foster care. And somebody else might be doing group homes. Somebody else is a foster parent. Somebody else gave Christmas trees to kids in foster care.
Yeah. But you're doing something positive. You are creating good news.
I think so. I think so. What I loved about Wednesday's Child back in the day when we didn't have all the social media and the internet and people watched TV news religiously, like growing up, my family watched the local news every single day. It's different now with the internet. But people would tell me they looked forward to Wednesday's Child, even though they weren't ever going to be a foster parent, weren't ever looking to adopt, but they loved the hope that it provided. And they love the uplifting of children.
Yes, yes. I mean, for me, these stories are so important, not just because you're helping children, which of course is my thing, but you're creating positive news, good news.
Yeah.
And in this day and age, it's so easy to be consumed by terrible news or
I work in it every day. Trust.
Catastrophizing.
Yeah.
News that has an agenda. And I mean, there's no agenda in trying to help a child. I mean, if there is, it's a positive agenda. It's a good agenda. It's something that helps the world, repairs the world, and that's what we're about here.
I mean, who doesn't love a smiling child? Who doesn't love a child getting to play? And what we do with Wednesday's Child, because we've done it since 1995. Right. And so we
30 years.
Yeah, every segment was either at a park or Chuck E. Cheese. And we realized, well, let's expand a little bit. And our social worker, Dr. William Wong, created the concept of a dream day for a child. So let's say you love fashion. So we'll hook up maybe with a designer and you get a day that's tailored just for you to highlight your interest and your passion. Let's say somebody else loves basketball. We've done Kobe Bryant going to the Lakers practice. I mean, tell me a kid's going to ever forget meeting Kobe Bryant at practice.
Yeah. These are important experiences for these kids.
And it tells them that we believe in them. We believe in their dreams, that their dreams matter. We know that they have hope, that they want to go to school, that they want to build something for themselves. They want a career. They want a life. And it says that we believe in you.
So I have a challenge for my listeners. If any of you are one of these children or helped one of these kids, I'd love for you to get a hold of me. I'd love to have you on my show. And I want to hear about the success, how this helped you. Even if you were one of the parents that helped one of these children, I want to know how it impacted your life. So
well, you'll be here for a while then because we've got a lot of great stories.
I know, so many great stories.
And you've done a lot with CASA, the CASA volunteers.
Yes.
We work with CASA as well. Sometimes the CASA volunteers will bring the kids to the shoot.
Oh, fabulous.
So, yeah, we know CASA well.
Oh, yeah. So this is all very positive. And anybody that does positivity work like Christine, I want to talk to you because this is what we have to do to change the world. We have to create interest in doing good in this world. And that's how you do it, is by talking about it and making it a popular subject matter and something that draws attention.
It has been a blessing for that assignment to come into Fox 11 and for my news director to give me this segment. Some people might have looked at it as a back burner segment or a back burner feature, but Fox 11 has stayed committed to that segment since 1995. We started out with zero sponsorship. Then a sponsor came on board because they were doing it out of D.C., Wednesday's Child out of D.C., and they wanted to sponsor us, so we became bigger and better through them. And then sponsorship went away. Fox still stayed with it. So I'm really quite proud of the brand and quite proud of Fox 11 for saying, no matter what, we're still doing it. We're showing up with our camera. We're putting it on the air. We're putting it on the web. That's a big commitment.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Fox 11 Los Angeles, for continuing your commitment to helping children in Southern California. That is huge. Helped a lot of people.
I was worried that and it was a big dollar sponsorship when that went away, and management changes, news director changes, would it be something that also got put on the back burner because we're busy this day, let's take the camera and send them here? But no, we've stayed with it. And they've allowed me to stay with it too.
Well, I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And I hope that you continue to find new avenues for creating good news, or at least letting us know, because honestly, I think there's a lot more good going out there in our...
So much good.
So much good. And we ignore it because if it bleeds, it leads.
It may lead, but stick around. We've got a whole hour at 10 o'clock.
Oh, good. We've
got a whole hour, so it may be the lead, but stay tuned.
But there's more than just that.
Absolutely.
So if you're only catching the first few minutes of the hour, that's not always the good news. That could be.
Exactly.
I know. I remember when I was growing up, we always had the 5 o'clock news on. My father was home by 5 o'clock, and that news went on. And if anybody talked during the news, we were reprimanded. That's how important it was. Yeah. And as I got older, I got a little bit angry. I felt angry because the news was more important than family discussions at the table. Like, we were only allowed to talk during the commercials.
But keep in mind, back in the day, it was only on a certain time. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have a DVR. You didn't have multiple...
That's right.
Stations. You didn't have the 24/7 cable like CNN.
That's right.
Now you can get news whenever, wherever. Back then, if you weren't home to watch it at 5, you missed it.
That's so true.
Right?
Yes. And I mean, I remember if we did miss the 5 o'clock news, my dad would stay up until 10 or 11
Right.
to catch
Yeah.
whatever was left of the news. So yes, I know. We had the news on for a few hours every night. It was very important to my dad to
same.
catch every story. But I started to think of it as, I used to call it murder news. As a teenager, that's what I saw it as, is, because
Right.
in that first 5 minutes, you heard about a lot of terrible things that happened in Los Angeles.
Right.
And unfortunately, that seemed to be the big stories were always about that, but that's not the only thing happening.
Okay, so I grew up in smaller cities, smaller towns, and I found there we covered things more in depth that we don't quite get to cover here in
a big
city.
city. Yeah.
Like, I lived in Tucson at one point, Tucson, Arizona. We knew the name of every high school,
Oh, that's true.
And
Yeah. that's
so we
true.
would cover the school board in depth.
Yeah.
We would cover issues that might not even make the news in LA because there's so many stories and so many
So
counties
true.
and so many cities that it's very hard to narrow down what it is you're going to put on the air for the 1 hour you have.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have a half hour, which is really 20 minutes with commercials, and you have sports and weather. So
there's only so much you can get in. And it's very important that
Right.
people know about everybody.
and keep in mind, we're covering LA County, Orange County, Riverside County, San Bernardino, Ventura gets in there sometimes, San Diego gets in there sometimes. That's a lot of people.
Right.
Millions of
right,
people.
Right. And then there's the big issues, like, laws that might get passed in California.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that's
Big
something,
issues that kind of affect us all.
yes, things that affect everybody. And then we're going to talk about that on Fox 11 Los Angeles News. You're going to want to cover that too. So why did you get into the news? What inspired you to pursue a career in broadcast journalism?
So my parents were both teachers. They were educators. And so they always stressed you have to know what's going on in your city, your state, your country, your world. They both had been Peace Corps volunteers also in third world countries.
Oh, wow.
So they had a grand interest in the woes of the world, I might say, and war-torn areas and poverty and economics and regime change. And so when you have that influence of people who have been outside of the United States, which I think every American should step outside of the United States, and you live in very impoverished areas, there's great concern for humanity.
Yes.
There. That's number one.
Yeah. Your parents sound like really, really upright citizens. I mean, teaching is really, it's an honorable career.
Yes.
It really is. And Peace Corps, that's a whole other level of helping people. So
I think so.
Yeah.
He was my stepfather. When my mom married him, he became my father who adopted me. Last name Devine is from Jack Devine. But he was in Tanzania, Africa, a teacher in a little tiny remote village. And my mother was in healthcare in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Okay. Is that where she met your birth
That's
father?
where she met my birth
Oh,
father.
we're going to talk about that.
Yes,
I'm looking forward to that.
That chapter.
Yeah,
yes.
we're going to hear all about the interesting things that Christine has discovered
Recently,
in the last
too.
year. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to learn all about that. So, what's been some of the most memorable work that you've done as a newscaster? Can you think of some stories or a story that stands out in your mind?
Well, keep in mind, having been at Fox 11 since 1990,
There's too many things.
it's a lot. I mean, when I
yeah.
first came, we had floods, we had fires, we had the riots, the 92
That's
riots,
right.
Rodney King.
Is that when you first started?
Yes.
In that, yeah. I was in LA when that happened that night.
Yeah.
It was right before I got
So was
married
I.
in 1992.
Ah, okay. Big year for you.
Yeah, big year for me in Westwood. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Big year in LA.
Yeah,
And the world was watching that one
I
too.
can't imagine covering that story. I mean, that's something to be part. That's being part of history covering
And
that
I was
story.
very young to be out there covering such a big, important topic. So I was learning as well as I was teaching, and telling and giving reports. It's something that you don't forget ever.
Ever.
You
I'll
don't
never forget
being
that night.
on the streets in the thick of it as buildings are burning and being looted.
Were
and
you
there's
in the
great
field
anger.
that night?
Absolutely.
Oh,
because I was.
Oh,
Yeah, I was the weekend anchor then, so that means weekdays I was out in the
I can't
field.
imagine. I've never talked to you about this.
Oh, yeah.
But this is interesting. It's just, as your friend to know that you were actually there in the
Yes.
field. I mean, I wasn't exactly in the field. I was in Mar Vista.
Okay,
I
right,
wasn't
right.
exactly
Right.
where the fires were occurring, but it wasn't far because LA is only about 5 miles from
Right.
the coast to where it was happening.
So
It's
the
not that far.
first day I was in the Crenshaw district, South LA. Second day might have been Koreatown, because remember there was a whole
Yes.
controversy going on between members of the Black community and the Korean merchants.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
there were so many things, and so I don't know. I think things have changed. I mean, they've changed a lot. The demographics have changed in Los Angeles, I think, since that. My father-in-law was a teacher in South Central.
Oh,
Both of my
okay.
in-laws were teachers
Okay.
in Los Angeles.
wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Right? So
Yeah.
they were both teachers, and my father-in-law worked at Fremont High School
Okay.
and on Vermont. So when he first started teaching in the early 70s, he got paid extra to work in that neighborhood. And it was really all African American. But by the time I met him in the late 80s, the neighborhood had changed and it was mostly Hispanic and
Right.
Latina.
Right.
So, yeah.
So my mother is Caucasian, and then she came back from Brazil, and then she was in Job Corps. No, my father was Job Corps. She was Teacher Corps. And so she taught in inner city Buffalo. And there's a great picture of her in the Buffalo newspaper with some students as well. So my parents have always been advocates for teaching in communities of perhaps greater financial need and to uplift those communities through education.
Oh, that's
Like
wonderful.
your
Yes.
father-in-law?
Father-in-law.
Yeah.
Father-in-law, yeah. Yes, that's the way. That's the way out, is education, always. And so it's really great to hear stories from teachers about, especially ones that have worked with students and given them opportunity. I mean, my father-in-law has great stories. I'm going to get him in here. I think he's going to be on next season.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, you haven't done him.
I haven't had him yet.
Oh my,
and he's
do that, yes. Get his
Yes.
story down.
Yeah, he's a philanthropist now.
Okay.
But yeah, he had a 25-year career in teaching.
Wonderful.
And he also had a business preparing taxes, so he used to hire the students from his school to
Oh,
work
that's
in
great.
his business during tax season. And one of his former students ended up buying the business from him or taking it
Oh
over
my
when
gosh.
he retired.
That's a great story.
Isn't that a great story? We should have him on Fox 11
That's
Los
a
Angeles.
great
Yeah,
story.
he's like he could be like I don't know if he's a holiday hero, but like an everyday hero.
Is he in touch with that person who owns the business still?
Oh, sure. He helps her if needed. He still refers people to her when they call him if he doesn't. He's still doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in his 80s now.
Yeah.
And he still has clients from then, he kept.
Yeah.
But yeah, he still will send people to her.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
See, I find everybody has a story to tell, and that keeps me so busy. But,
Right?
But your question was, why did I get into
Yeah.
news? Because education was so important to my family, and this is the way to constantly be educated about the world. I mean, remember, thinking news. I'm
Genius.
learning every single day.
Yeah.
I'm covering a new topic every single day and having to learn it enough to go back and report it.
Yes.
So it's literally like being in school.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you need to, you have to have an interest, obviously, like you said, in learning. You have to be curious about people, like really curious. Like I encourage my listeners to be curious about people.
Okay.
Ask people questions. Talk to people. If you
Yeah.
don't understand something or something's weird to you, ask people about it.
Okay.
Like that to me is the way that we break down barriers, and it gives us proximity to people that are different. And I think it's those proximities, even like listening to somebody's story, like your story. It brings someone, who has been adopted. You were adopted by your stepfather?
Yes.
Yes. And someone who might be of mixed race or a different race. You get to learn their story and like why, how, and what were the things that made the difference in their lives that they
funny.
could be so successful.
You bring up the adoption thing because I just last week applied for my original birth certificate, because when you are adopted, when my mom, she married Jack Devine, they
Yeah.
applied for adoption papers to have me be his adopted daughter.
Yeah.
All that, well, you get a new birth certificate. So that birth certificate is now Jack Devine, and I don't actually know what my name was when I was born.
Because they rename you?
Well, my last name.
oh, I see.
I don't know if it was my mom's maiden name.
Oh, because it could have been either.
Was it my
right?
biological father's name?
That's fascinating.
I'm guessing it was probably her maiden name. But I used to always say I was born a Lucas, which is my biological father's last name. So somehow I'm like, I must have got that story somehow that I
Yeah.
was born a Lucas.
So you're going to find that out, though.
Right.
now.
I literally last week submitted for that.
Good for you. Well, that's important. It's important for us to know like where we fit into the history.
I'm
of
excited
things.
to know.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to let our listeners know what you find out. So, with how has landscape of news changed? I mean, you mentioned that now people are not watching maybe the 5 o'clock news anymore. They're getting the news from a lot of different places. How is that impacting you as a reporter?
It's changed in such a drastic way in our lifetime.
Yes.
You think of the younger generation, this is all they know. They know cell phones and internet and multiple channels and choice. It'd be unheard of for my niece to sit down and watch the nightly news every single night, like we did as kids, like our parents did when we were young. I mean, I grew up, there were 3 channels, and that's it.
Me too.
And so now in LA alone, there are 9 local channels. And then you think of your cable channels, your national channels, your internet outlets, like Yahoo News or Variety Entertainment or Hollywood Reporter. There's a lot of outlets to get your news.
So many ways.
Right.
And I'm under the impression that most people under the age of 35 are getting their news from people.
Social media?
Yes, they're getting news from people that have not gone to journalism school, that do not understand the ethics of reporting.
Right.
And I don't know where they get their news from.
So I have a dear friend who is not a news junkie, and she does get hers from TikTok, which I'm like, all right, well, you're getting something. But she called me and she said, did you hear such and such? I go, did not hear that on mainstream news, so I tend to think that might not be true. And so I said, let me look that up because it's fascinating what you're telling me, and I want to hear about it, but we haven't heard that. And so I looked it up, and it was indeed not it was a TikTok video, but they said, what if it happened like this? But they buried that line at the very end.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
So they did the whole report as if it really happened. And if you didn't catch that last line, and this is not real, but what if it was like that?
Oh,
you're thinking it's real.
Yes.
So this gets out there circulating as if it's real. And this person who called me is college educated, is a manager in a big company, and I'm like, ooh, wow. I know you're not a news junkie.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful on that TikTok stuff and that social media stuff that are not legitimate vetted outlets.
Yes, this is so true. I mean, even like with social media, I have also been a victim of this. I mean, I have seen stories I've forwarded stories on from in my story on Instagram before checking to see if they were factual, because they were such horrible, unbelievable stories. And then I would get, some people following up with me saying, I don't know if that's actually true. Did you ever check that? And it's very embarrassing. As somebody, I mean, I pride myself on being educated and well-read, and then to have that happen. So anybody out there that just forwards on news that seems unbelievable, it probably is.
Okay, so now you have AI, which is a whole different ballgame.
Yes, so and that makes it even harder to tell.
Yeah. There was a site that had all these deep sea water creatures, and they're fascinating.
I was a victim of that one.
And they're so fascinating. I'm
right?
like, oh my gosh, they discovered. I'm like, wait a minute.
Wait,
I've never
turtle.
seen this. I've never seen this elsewhere. This is not on National Geographic. So then I realized it was a whole AI site, but it was so realistic. Except that they became very, very detailed in their capture of the video, and then very creative. I'm like, wait, that seahorse isn't really for real.
I know. There was this one, I remember it was like a turtle that was like 1,000-pound turtle. It was like as big as a cruise ship.
Did you see the one where they clean the whale? The whale has all these barnacles on it.
Oh, that's not real?
Oh, please. It's really cool. I'm like, wow, I've never seen cleaning of the I didn't know barnacles attached to whales like that.
I didn't either.
And they're spraying them down,
it could be
scraping them off. I'm like, wait.
Because the whale would actually come to people for help.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was knowing that now, it makes me wonder like what percentage of the things I have seen are actually real.
Well, and the neat thing is they can do really creative things with the AI technology. You may know I'm into fashion just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So they did this thing where a model or a woman was walking in the designer's outfit, and then they would have a ginormous creature like a cat in dressed in the same, like Louis Vuitton. So it's the person walking, and the cat is ginormous, wearing Louis Vuitton. It was really creative and neat, but obviously no way it was real. You know?
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry.
I mean, I guess AI is good for some people, can be very creative with it, but there should be something that that from the get-go you understand that that's what it is, in case you don't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I am concerned as to where it's going to go and how many people will be duped on. We've already heard about people being fed information or
like
duped.
what do you think we should do about that? I mean, do you have any idea or on how we can
police it?
Yeah, how do we police it?
How do we police it?
Yeah, do you have
I am
suggestions?
the only advice I can really give people right now is to truly turn to more of your mainstream sources for some kind of legitimate confirmation.
Yeah.
I know there are people out there who think they're discovering things or breaking things or have insight. I don't know if you can always believe them.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a field reporter that's there actually seeing it
Right.
happen and showing you that it's
Right.
happened, how can you know for sure? You're just, it's hearsay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're not actually seeing it yourself, so you
Yeah.
don't really know if it's true or not. And I think that's the value of like Fox 11 News, because they actually have people that go out and see it happen and report on it that way instead of listening to someone else talk about it.
Also, we have a checks and balance.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm constantly writing a producer. Are we sure about this? Is that number right? Did we mean to say this? Somebody checked me on something. Did you get that name right? Oh, I made a mistake on that name. So we have a system of producers, writers, fellow co-anchors who are doing these checks and balances. Sometimes I think people that are out there on the internet or doing their TikTok, there's no check and balance for them.
And there's a reason why there's no checks and balance, because you work for an organization with millions of dollars to go out and hire people that are college educated that know how to do that research and have the time to do it. And that's their actual job. Go figure. When you go out and do your own news, you don't have that kind of support. And if you aren't doing it yourself, it just might not be good news. So, I mean, it's a
interesting
lot.
times. I
Yeah.
say the pro and con of technology, the pro and con of, I remember when the internet first came out or computers first came out, the pro and con of all of it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've had a lot of technological advances, and I kind of see technology and the way that we live with it right now as almost like a wild frontier. I mean, this must have been what it was like in the Wild West before they had any rules.
A new version of the Wild
right?
West.
I mean, it's like the Wild West. I mean, there's no rules. You could do just about anything. And the people that are doing fake news and or not doing good news, like reliable news, well, they're 19 years old. So if they defame you, there's not really much you can do about it, right?
And the bigger issue is outside manipulation.
Yes.
Or government manipulation. Or outside government manipulation.
Yes. Yes.
The fear of Russia or China manipulating.
It's hard to know.
Stories.
It's hard to know like what the agendas are of I think most people know, okay, well, if you watch news on this channel, you're probably going to get a more centered view. If you watch it on this channel, maybe not so much. But you watch the news that, has the same, I guess, agendas that you have, so that you're in line with that news.
So what I do to counter that is I will flip channels enough to get the different perspectives. And if I feel like I know one perspective in this direction, let me flip around or listen to this podcast to get a counter perspective or hear the counter voice.
Yeah.
I want to hear what they're saying.
Yeah. I think that like my biggest beef with news is that not all of the stories that we need to hear are being covered because,
sure.
not everything can be covered. There's a selection process and sometimes like important things just don't get covered.
And that is also then the beauty of technology, that you can go on a podcast and pick the topic of your choice.
Yes. And that is one thing I do like. But then again, when I get my news from, a 19-year-old because they happen to be following something of my interest to me, I have to take it from the source. I guess that's really what it comes down to. You have to look at the source. And if you feel like, getting your news from people that may not have graduated from middle school.
I think that if you're looking for news, that maybe you want to check different sources to see if there's a pattern in the sourcing, or to just listen to other voices so you can make decisions for yourself.
I think that that's wise. And most people, I think most adults do that, I'm hoping. that most adults do that. Although I don't know. Sometimes I've been at dinner parties and people have said things and I'm like, I'm scratching my head. Like where, But that's the way things are now. It won't be like this forever because eventually I don't know how we're going to get our news. I can't imagine it can go on like this forever. There's got to be some changes made, I think.
My fear is me being replaced by an AI newscaster.
Can you imagine that? And it could be like a giant cat in a Louis Vuitton suit.
Let it be. Let it be.
Right?
Let it be.
That would be something.
That would be awesome.
That'll be great. It'll be news with the cat. Fashion cat.
I love it.
Right. What do you find the most rewarding as in your role as an anchor? Like, what do you love about it?
Just getting information. I feel like whenever there's a story, you can feel so removed and so helpless.
Yeah.
I get to be a part of things. I get to be a part of what's happening.
Like a part of history almost. Like you are there.
Just a part of what's happening. Even if it's like the immigration raids that we had. We covered that wall to wall. The fires that we've recently had. Palisades and Altadena. I get to be part of some of those things that are affecting people.
Yeah. I think that would be really exciting too. Yeah.
And it's different every day. Every day's different.
Yeah. When you were out in the field, were you ever in situations that were dangerous, that you were worried about your safety?
The 92 riots, we had some threats when we were out in the field.
Yeah, that would be concerning.
Yeah, one story, I was just on a live shot in Koreatown. I remember there was conflicts between the Black community and the Korean community. And so we were doing a live shot at a Korean store that had been looted.
Oh.
Okay. And so I'm wrapped up, signing off, look back, and somebody is in a tug of war for the camera with my cameraman.
Oh, that's ugly.
And they're literally going seesawing back and forth, trying to go.
Because they think it's something to steal?
To steal the camera, yes. And these are big, expensive news cameras
Right.
back then.
Oh.
And luckily, an LAPD car came screeching up and the person ran off.
Wow. But that's one of the worst things that's ever happened.
One thing.
Wow.
I've been threatened before
Oh, you've actually been threatened
to leave a scene.
to leave it. Oh, wow. Have you ever seen anything that like really disturbed you and left you wondering why you were in this job?
I think daily when you're hearing the worst of
about it?
humanity, because we do cover the worst of humanity, but also the best of humanity.
Yeah.
And so I think day in and day out, it can be a grind to constantly hear about the painful things we do to one another on this planet as humans.
I know you do hear, because you actually hear about all of it because you are right there. I don't hear about all of it, and I hear about enough of it that like I'm scratching my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to say, when I'm done, I'm going to be a florist. I'm going to be just dealing with cutting flowers and beauty every single day. But again, we also hear about the best of humanity. I've just found that as human beings, we're very complex. Our brains don't always work well. There can be toxic people, but we also know that there are people who've been very hurt people as well.
So true.
There's a lot of pain that you think of war or third world countries,
Yes.
poverty, people don't have food, why people do some of the things that they do. The whys are kind of what I really like to study.
Yeah, I think that's critical, because I think that the people that do these things, they have never examined that in their own. They've just accepted the voices in their heads.
There's a lot of pain and a lot of hurt,
Yes.
Especially, I deal a lot with foster care. We talk about childhood trauma
Oh, yeah.
and what that does when you have childhood trauma and how
it-
that affects you with the people that you encounter and who you become and how you act out or not act out.
Yeah.
And so
It kind of leaves you stunted, I think. When something happens to you when you're young,
Yeah.
you learn from that age on that is always the way that you deal with conflict or
sure, a lot
as
of
a
it's learned
child,
behavior.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm studying integrated family systems now. It's like a form of therapy.
How families affect one another.
Well, it's more like how your own mind has different parts to it. Like it's not, you don't have an integrated mind by nature. You have a lot of different people in there, or different personalities. Like it's not a multiple personality situation. It's just that we have like some parts of our personality are protectors and some of the personalities are firefighters, and there's reasons for that. But your mind is trying to protect you all the time, and so you have to realize that in order to unwind it.
See, I don't know if some of it's learned behavior, because I could never be a police officer, and many of my good friends are.
Yeah.
I did police officer training, and I'm like, I have to run into that building right there where we know that person has a weapon?
Oh, I wanted to do it. My mother talked me out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I was in college, I was studying law and society.
Okay.
I really wanted to work for the DA's office. So
Okay.
I did. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to do a police ride-along. And I did it all night. It was the most exciting night of my life. And in the morning when I got home, I called my mother and I said, Mom, I'm going to police academy. And she was like, what? She said, you're not going to be a police officer. They shoot at police officers. I'm like, oh. They do, don't they? She said, that's ridiculous. You're not doing that. You know, I was, 20 years old. And unfortunately, I listened to my mother back then. Fortunately. But she talked me out of it.
Well, it's a braver mentality than I have. And thank goodness that we're different people and want to do different things on the planet. Thank goodness somebody wants to step up and play that role.
Right? That's
and
an
do
upstander.
that job.
Yeah.
That is not something I could do. I'm a scaredy cat.
Yeah,
afraid of the dark kind of thing.
Yeah, thinking that somebody's going to shoot at me, I was like, I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, my best friend is an officer. Have you met Christina?
I don't know.
No. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Best friend is an officer, and she's retired now. But she is fearless.
Wow.
There was a rape suspect in the neighborhood. She goes, I'm going to leave my window open so I can catch him if he comes through my window.
Oh my God,
I
love your friend.
Really?
Oh my God.
You're going to leave your window open to try to lure the rapist to your house?
How'd that go for her? They're married now.
I wouldn't go there. But point being, I'm like,
wow.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. So she's used to setting up situations where she traps criminals.
I'll just say she's fearless.
She's brave. She's badass.
Yeah.
That's a badass.
Her father was an officer. Her uncle was an officer.
Oh, it's in the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that must have been some career.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I want to get her on my show. I bet she's got some stories.
She has some stories.
Wow. Yeah, that's like one of those things like being a teacher. It's a very
public servant.
It's a public servant. It really is. I mean, but it's a public servant without like the kind of power that like a public servant has that is a representative in Congress.
What I like about the police officers that I know and love, they want to be a part of serving the city.
Yeah.
They want to be a part of being involved in their government, which obviously I'm a big proponent of that, of being involved and participating.
Yes.
And playing a role in shaping our communities.
Right. Being an upstander. I just had a 13-year-old in my studio for his interview because he raised $300 for the Blaise Bernstein Memorial Fund as his bar mitzvah project.
Oh, wonderful.
And part of that project was teaching other people, children in his school, what the difference was between an upstander and a bystander. And he encourages people to do the right thing and be an upstander. Don't just stand there and watch, get involved. And I just thought, wow, like how does it
Where did he learn that?
He told me that he learned that from being bullied.
Oh.
That because he had been a victim of bullying throughout his elementary school, that he learned that when you see someone being bullied, you have to help them.
What gave him the courage to step up, though?
Well, that's what's so fascinating to me. I mean, I look at this kid who's so articulate and explaining his concepts to me as if, he's an adult.
Precious.
It's so cute. I'll tell you when his episode's going to be on. It's going to be right around the time yours is on. But yeah, he was really cute, Braden. And I saw him this morning, actually. He showed up we did a cleanup at the Memorial Park, and I
love him already.
Yeah,
look at him. I mean, being involved that young. I mean, there are a lot of ways to spend your Saturday morning.
That's what I told him. Yeah, he showed up this morning because he, as part of his fundraiser, sold rocks and had kids pay for these rocks and put nice little artwork on it that he then brought to the rock garden.
The rocks you have here are stunning.
These aren't the ones, but they are like this. Aren't they beautiful?
Stunning.
Yeah, these are some really beautiful ones that I kept.
They really are beautiful.
They are so gorgeous, and I knew that once we put them out there, sometimes they get stolen, unfortunately. They get damaged. We know that.
Well, may they be loved by those
I mean, eventually I will release them into the wild, but for now I keep them here just because they're art. They really are beautiful artwork. People have sent these to me from the Netherlands, from all over the world, and they're really special. Like, people really put their heart and soul into some of these things.
Can I touch one of them?
Yes, please. Aren't they something?
They really are.
Yeah. This was made by one of Blaze's best friends from college. His mother made that for me.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
A lot of love right here.
Yeah. I thought that was so gorgeous. But yeah, a lot of it when people make these rocks, part of Jewish tradition, you leave a rock at a grave instead of flowers because they last forever, right? Mm-hmm. And so you know that someone's been there, and the grave hasn't been neglected. When you see a rock on a grave that's what that means. And so we encouraged people to make these and leave them in the place where Blaze had been found that night.
They're so beautiful.
So we had thousands of them had been sent to the park. People brought them. They mailed them. They got them there. And I have to tell you, when it first happened and I went to the park and I saw those beautiful rocks all around the trees and everywhere on the ground there, it just made me feel like, this terrible thing happened, but this world is still full of beauty. There are still beautiful people in this world that care.
Absolutely.
It really made us feel so good. So people that make these beautiful rocks, I encourage you to keep doing it. Not just for me, but leave them places and put messages on them of hope. Because
it's a great idea.
Yeah, they make people feel really happy when they find them and they see that there are people that care. They care about humanity and making this world better. So I know.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really helpful.
I'm just thinking of your son Blaze, and you have such beautiful tributes here.
Yeah. I miss him every day. I think about this kid. He would be. He was born in 1998, so he'd be 28 years old now.
Oh,
I know. It's hard to believe. He probably would have been done with medical school and on with life, But I still have a son and a daughter who are doing great, and but it's not the same. But it's just one of those things when you lose a child, you always wonder what life would have been like if they had.
I can't imagine, and I'm so proud of you and Gideon, both what you do to
thank you
keep this voice loud and to make this story and what happened known.
Yeah, I think it's important that people know, because we're doomed to repeat history if we don't learn from it. And you can't learn from it if we don't remember the story. And I feel like Blaze's story, the tragedy of it, it's memorable. And, people remember it, and they'll remember, be kind to people that are different.
It's hard to believe that this could happen, but then I think it gets back into, the trauma that...
Yes. Yeah. There's trauma all around. These things don't happen in a vacuum.
Yeah. I don't even want to even talk about
I know
the man who's now sitting in prison for this, because that's a wasted life there.
Right. It is.
And it's a wasted opportunity to be a great human being. And
right. Wasted tax dollars, wasted time of so many
very, very
people. Sad.
It's
a whole, it's a tragedy for two families, for a lot of people, so it happened, and all we can do now is try to make, what do they say, lemonade out of lemons. Yeah. So we keep going forward and hoping make a difference, make a better world. That's all that we can do.
Being that I cover stories like this, in their own fashion every single day, I do believe it's a very complex planet. Our brains are very complex. Yeah. Trauma is very complex. I think what you're doing, we just keep pushing forward when we can and how we can.
That's right.
And that's what you're doing here.
Yeah.
With the beautiful rocks, with the podcast, with the people you're uplifting, so they can continue to tell their stories.
That's really what it's about at this point for me. If I do nothing else in my lifetime but, continue to uplift other people, inspire people, or even just say thank you for being a good person. And
let me ask you this: your 13-year-old, was it his first big interview?
Yes,
I should think.
And he was so thrilled to come into the studio and to see how we do things here. He was blown away.
And you know what? I want to check back with him in 10 years and 20 years.
Yes, absolutely. I told him that. I told him I want him to come back into the studio, and we're going to check in on him and see what other amazing things he's doing.
Because the foundation he has right now, he has a mindset to be involved and to give back and to care.
Yes.
And he's found something that spoke to him. So he's channeling his passion and his energy and moving it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Check
really,
back.
It's really something.
10 to 20 years.
Right? I mean,
see where he is.
This was a bar mitzvah project, but you don't have to have a bar mitzvah to get your kid involved in doing something really special like this. I mean,
but he could have picked many causes.
He could have
many
picked
issues.
anything. I mean, I challenge people, have your middle schooler, instead of, being on TikTok for 3 hours every day after they finish their homework, have them come up with a project of community service like this, something that can change the world. Because 13-year-olds, they have a lot of energy, and they don't need to be sitting in their room doing nothing. They can be doing productive things. So
my mom always had us in Girl Scouts.
Right?
Every summer was different. It was like tennis one summer, swim team the next summer.
Yeah.
Dance the next summer.
I'm surprised I didn't run into you.
Yeah. Well, I was in Arizona.
That might be why.
Right. But yeah, my mom was very good about having us involved in activities and learning.
That can be the difference sometimes.
We didn't master anything, though. I didn't get 12 years of piano under my belt, but we tried different things and we discovered who we wanted to be ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's key. I think that by doing all these different things, I realize since I'm not good at anything physical, it's a good thing to go use my brain and go to college.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
The tennis didn't work out. The art classes didn't work out. The piano lessons didn't work out. There was nothing. There was nothing I was a virtuoso at. So
ballet didn't work out. Well, I only did it for one summer.
I wasn't a jazz dancer. It wasn't happening. So. But that's how you find out, get your kids involved in things so they know.
Although I do wish I had a few more years of ballet. I wish I had become a ballet master of some sort.
Oh, do you? Do you think you could have?
Well, you got to take lessons. You got to work at it.
Yeah.
We weren't that family that you're doing this for the next 10 years.
Yeah. There's someone in my family that is. Yeah. I have my cousin's daughter. I'm so proud of her. Nika Gershman Pepper. She is at Juilliard. She was the youngest student at Juilliard ever. So young at 15. Her mom had to move to New York with her. They're from Southern California.
Gosh.
And she's with her there now. She's 18 now in her third year. And she is one of the best flautists in the world.
Wow.
In the world. I know.
Wow.
I'm so proud of this girl.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm going to have her on my show one of these days. Yeah, another great story. Yeah. In fact, they live in the same neighborhood that Kamala Harris lives in. But she's in New York now. And my cousin said he doesn't know if she'll ever come back to California because, with what she does, that's where she needs to be.
Oh.
I know. I'm like, well, but we want her back here.
Well, she has to work.
Right? Yeah. So do you have any advice for aspiring journalists? Like, what are your words of advice for me?
Yes. Oh, I see.
Or
for you? Is that for you?
For any journalist. I'm kind of kidding because I'm not really an aspiring journalist. I'm just I'm a philanthropist.
Well, it depends on where you're at with this.
Yeah.
If you're in high school,
yeah,
I'd say we're in a day and age where probably every high school has a school newspaper or a yearbook.
Yeah.
Or a newscast.
Yeah, that's a great way to
audio
to learn.
Right. So back in the day, you couldn't touch the equipment because we didn't have the equipment. Right.
Yeah.
My first newscast, I have an anchor desk. It's a desk and a piece of paper behind me that says news.
So it was almost as nice as my studio here.
Oh no, your studio is very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
But you have equipment.
Yeah.
In this day and age, kids have the equipment. You can be a journalist on your cell phone.
True.
Right?
That's all you need.
Right. So there's no excuse. I don't know how to do it. You just do it.
Yeah.
You take a class. You go online. You are part of it at school.
You should take a class. Learn.
Yeah, because you have to learn to edit.
Learn how to edit
and
make sure that your news
format
is right, is good, is factual.
Right.
Learn about defamation.
I made factual errors, so
it happens.
you learn about that.
Yeah.
But you can do that right now in school.
Yeah.
And I never, I always wanted to be in journalism, so I did it in high school and did it in college. So I would say a great university where you can touch the equipment is important. Arizona State, a bit biased because that's where I went, but we have one of the best journalism schools in the country.
Right.
And they have students doing the actual newscast each and every day.
Wow.
So you have people directing, reporting, doing the audio.
Arizona State, for
exactly.
anyone who is a kid that is interested in getting into journalism, that's the place to go.
The Cronkite School.
Oh, well, it doesn't get any better than
Walter Cronkite,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we need one of those.
Right. But kids in school now are doing the job. So you're not having to read a book about it and then go learn the craft once you get out.
Yeah, you can actually get hands-on experience.
They're coming out of journalism school very experienced already.
Wow. Do you think there's a lot of jobs in journalism? Is it an expanding industry?
Well,
Will it be?
keep in mind, there are the variety that we have
Yeah.
that we didn't have back when I was in school.
So maybe there is room.
There are internet channels.
Yeah.
There's
so much.
so much.
There's just so much.
Yeah.
But there's so many people now too, right? I mean, there's a lot
Trying to
more,
do it.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people that want news. I mean, there are a lot. Everyone's connected in now, right?
Want news, right?
I mean, because I don't know, like 30 years ago, there were a lot of people that probably didn't get news in this world. Like they couldn't
because of
get
the
it.
internet and the computer.
Yes. And now
right.
those people can get news, and they're also consumers. So
It's interesting the way things expand. For example, I work for Fox. We just picked up the Indy 500. And
cool.
so before you would watch it on some smaller outlet.
yeah.
And now it was mainstream on Fox like it was the Super Bowl.
Wow.
With the hosts and the commentators and the pre-show and the visuals. It was something. So that showed me there is growth continuing to happen.
Yeah,
in different areas.
Yeah, and that's actually like good news. It's it's not about something terrible happening. It's of something of interest, something interesting. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so let's get into like the juicy stuff now.
Is there juicy stuff?
Oh, I
my.
think so.
There's juicy stuff.
The discovery of your birth father.
That's juicy.
That's
Okay.
juicy.
All right, I
you
didn't know where you're
know,
going with that.
for-
I did not know where you're going with the
Yeah,
juicy.
I mean, is there something more juicy? Than
Well,
that?
probably.
Well, this isn't that kind of show, so.
Okay, great. Thank goodness.
But if you want to talk about that,
No,
we
thank
can do
goodness,
that
thank
after
goodness.
this part. Okay, so you found out that you had a birth father. Why even find?
Well, I
try to
always
find
knew
out?
that.
Oh, you knew that.
I always knew that.
Okay, so tell the listeners, what is it that you knew, and
Well-
why find out more? What happened?
Let me just tell you this.
Yeah.
So my mom's Caucasian, and I was born to a single mother. Obviously, I have brown skin, curly hair. So I don't look like my family. So that'll tell you right there. There's a story here.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was with my mother and her parents in upstate New York, I didn't look like anybody. My father's from Brazil. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that alone. But my mother always told me the story that she was in Brazil and that my father is in Brazil. So I never didn't know.
Yeah.
There was just no contact with him. And so there was just no, summer visits, going home for Christmas, phone call. There was none of that. He was just never in the picture. Longer story, but
Yeah.
by her choice.
I was going to ask you about
Yeah.
that. So it wasn't that he didn't want to. Maybe he didn't
Right.
know or didn't know how to.
It's a long
or-
story for the book,
Yeah.
but
For a book.
Well, it's a longer
Someday.
story.
Someday.
But point being,
Yeah.
I did not have my father in my life, nor was I in his life, all growing up. And pretty much any time I would ask about it, truthfully, the family would kind of shut it down, for whatever the reasons are.
Yeah. For the book.
For the book. But point being, my mother, when she was diagnosed with terminal cancer in 2016,
Oh dear.
she was 76. I came home one day and she popped open Facebook and said, "That's your father."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she finally, after all these years, decided she needed you to know.
All these years.
Wow. That is
Yeah.
a stunning revelation.
I'd never even seen a picture.
Oh my gosh, Christine.
I knew the name.
But you
though.
have a father. I mean, he might not be your biological father,
have a
but
father.
you have a dad.
Yes.
A man who loves you, cared for you, took care of you.
Oh, my stepfather?
Yeah.
Who adopted me?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. He's passed away also.
So the time was right.
He passed away many years ago. Longer story also.
Yeah.
But yes, I had Jack Devine since I was 3 years old. So yes, I had a father. They had a child together. I have a sister, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So I was not lacking. There was no lack there. So I was not hungry for a father.
Yeah.
I had a father. Now, he'd passed away already.
Yeah.
So when my mother showed me the picture of my birth father, it was a whole new chapter because I'd never seen anybody who looked like me, because I look like my father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That must have been
Cool. It was cool.
A very cool moment for you.
It was cool.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And he looked cool.
he even now.
He's pretty cool.
And he's probably in his 70s as well.
82. He's now
Wow.
82.
And he's still cool.
Yeah, a longer story.
For the book.
Which might be why they're not together. He was a little too cool.
A little too much cool.
But point being, so she showed me his picture. I thought he'd passed away because he wasn't on social media.
But she knew he was somewhere out there.
Well, no, I thought he died because he hadn't written anything on Facebook for 3 years.
Oh, that.
And so I tried to trace pictures that look like family and similar names. And I wrongly diagnosed that he'd passed away because of something they had written.
Oh, wow.
So I just let it go because I'm thinking, he's not here. Okay, great. I see his picture. Wonderful.
Wow.
He's not here. He's gone.
Okay. So what happens next? Like you obviously had a meeting with him at some point.
Yes. So what happened next? Years go on. My mother passes away. I post randomly on Facebook on a Father's Day, Throwback Thursday kind of thing. Oh, picture of my father. I'd never seen a picture of him before. So be it. My mother's friend, who'd been in the Peace Corps also, said, let's go find the family.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh, let it go. They may not know about me. Just let it go.
Wow.
She's like, nope, we're going to go find that family. I go, well, I think this looks like a son or a nephew. Start there.
Because why not? I mean, he may be gone, but you might have brothers and sisters that you never knew.
Again, if this woman is willing to do it, I'm like, you're not going to offer every day, so let me say yes while you're offering. Go have at it.
So she was successful.
It took a while. It took several months.
And then one day you get a phone call.
No. She was a journalist. She was a journalist also. So I'm not surprised. And she still went back to Brazil. Mm-hmm. So she would go every year to Brazil anyway. So her ties to Brazil, from the 1960s were still there.
And she must be in her 80s now.
Yes,
okay.
Right. So she contacted the son. My father has a son.
Your brother.
I have a brother. Yes. And she went through him. It took a while also to make that happen and make the next chapter happen. So then we weren't getting much of a response, and she would not let it go. Wouldn't let it go, wouldn't let it go, wouldn't let it go. Kept reaching out. And then one day she calls me at work and says, get on WhatsApp. Your brother wants to talk to you right now.
Wow. And
so we were off and running since then.
What was going through your mind when?
Oh my gosh! Because we've been trying for like a year.
Yeah. You wanted this. You wanted to.
But well, he had acknowledged an email before and then stopped writing, and so we tried several ways to reach back out, and then finally, she sent him my picture on WhatsApp. She goes, "I got his phone number," and sent him my picture, a fashion picture.
Oh, good.
And he bit on that. Okay.
Oh.
What do you want to know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you ask him, is my father alive? Where?
He wrote back, he's alive and in good health.
Oh, so how long did it take from there for you to actually meet him?
Well, then this brother and I would WhatsApp, getting to know one another for about a month. And I'm like, is this going anywhere?
Now, does he speak
wonderful
English?
He's
all is easy,
awesome.
Easy to communicate?
He speaks English.
Okay.
Father does not. Father speaks Portuguese.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You learning Portuguese now?
It's so hard. Once they start rapid conversation, I am out.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very hard. Okay. So I have a father I cannot speak with. It's crazy.
You'll get a translator.
I have a translator.
Oh, how does that work?
Well, I hire a translator when I go. I've been 3 times.
Okay, so you have a person, but you've never tried like the electronic ones?
We do Google Translate. So here's how it works.
Yeah.
I've been 3 times in 1 year.
That's a lot.
Yes, it is. Because it's not. It's a 2-day flight.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, 17 hours.
Oh,
because there's no direct to Rio from LA.
Oh.
So you have a layover.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I hire a translator. I use Google Translate. Father speaks a tad bit of English. I've studied a little Portuguese, and we both speak a little Spanish. So between all of that, we get through.
Okay. Have you learned anything from him that has changed your life?
Oh my gosh, so much.
So much.
Well, one, you don't know why my mother and he...
She never explained that to you.
That she took to her grave. I will never know the why. I can kind of guess the why.
Does he know?
We're all piecing together things.
Did he know about you?
Yes. He knew he had a child because she was pregnant in Brazil.
Did he ever explain to you if he did anything to try to find you?
Well, he had also come to America for a couple months before I was born.
Okay. So maybe he tried to work on it with her. Then it's possible. Yeah. Wow. Complicated.
It is.
Really complicated.
He said he didn't have the finances to find me or the contacts. Remember, this is pre-internet. You know, things are different now.
It was a lot different.
Right.
And it probably was never easy to immigrate from or to even visit America from Brazil.
To this day.
Yeah.
So my half-brother, applied for a visa, got denied.
Wow. That's unfortunate.
Right. I'm like, I'm learning all about this now. I had no idea you can't just get on a plane from Rio de Janeiro and go to Disneyland for 2 weeks. Not without a visa. And it got denied.
Wow. I hope things change.
Yeah. We're trying to go different routes, but father can probably get his visa to come visit, but he's 82.
Yeah.
And so I need the son to travel with him.
Yeah. A lot of people that have relatives like this in faraway foreign countries, I remember my family had this issue with my husband's grandmother. She was in Israel, and at the end of her days, they could not bring her here because of her medical situation. She needed to have access to their medicine there because you can't get insurance for somebody here if you bring them here and they're elderly. So
I had no idea.
I know.
I literally thought, you can't go to Disneyland for 2 weeks?
It's complicated. It is very complicated.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can bring them here, on a tourist visa, but they can't really stay. And I don't.
Can you on a tourist visa?
You used to be able to. Now, with the way that things are, they're not. There's like so many countries that are on the no-fly zone now that cannot. Come
Brazil.
here at all.
Brazil is not on the no-fly zone, but he's he's only in his 30s.
He probably could come on a tourist visa. I'm guessing, but it's worth trying. All you have to do is call the consulate and find out.
I'll try. He's trying it on his way, so I don't know if it's that easy.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, if you buy a plane ticket and you show up at the airport, are they going to not let you get on the plane?
Yeah, if you don't have your visa.
Oh, well, that's something. Yeah, because I mean, before I just got back from Thailand, and before we left, we made sure that we could get access to the country, because we didn't want to show up and have them say, sorry, we don't accept Americans. Right. So we made sure, and they have their own requirements. Like they only let you're only allowed 60 days. And if you violate that, then you aren't allowed to come back again. Or they have penalties. Like you might have to wait a year before you can come back again. So so you have to kind of follow the rules. But wow, it's so complicated.
It is.
But I'm so glad that you got to meet him. And
I know.
I mean, what a great,
it's so fun.
What a great thing. And especially now that your mom and dad are passed, this is your only living family. Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah, like I said, I've been there 3 times, and it's every stereotype of Brazil that you think of. He lives in Copacabana Beach.
Oh, wow. That sounds great.
Yeah. And my brother's always jogging along the beach. I'm like, is that your day every day? Every day, Copacabana Beach.
Wow. So, if you had been raised there, would you have had a good life?
I think you got to keep in mind, my mom was an aid worker for the U.S. government.
Yeah.
So I think my life might have been different. Yeah. Maybe I would have followed in her footsteps. Yeah. Maybe I might have been a diplomat. One of my father's relatives was an actress, like an internationally known actress.
Yeah, so this family was not, they didn't live in a cereal box.
Right. Another in-law was in politics.
They were educated. They were involved in the community of Brazil where they lived.
It's much more interesting than I expected.
Wow, that is. I bet that's going to be a great book.
Yeah. Everyone's got a book.
It sounds right, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like your family there are people that would probably want to know you.
Yes,
and people that you want to know.
My father feels like I'm an angel that fell out of the sky.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Well, I mean, the fact that he's 82 and his daughter has found him.
I mean, it's kind of amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most people would never be upset that they had a child, that they didn't know.
I don't know if everybody has a great experience. Father and I write every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, every day. Every day.
Wow. That's beautiful.
It's never in-depth conversations because we don't speak the same language, but he messages me every day and usually sends a photo. He's on the bus.
But that's
he's watching
so great.
TV.
You can learn what his life is like now. He's retired, obviously. Did he continue to work as an aid worker or whatever he did?
My mom was an aid worker.
Your mother was, but
he was in the military when they met.
Oh, interesting. So did that continue?
Well, he was in the military and he was a dancer on a TV show.
Wow. That is so fascinating because
Right.
here you ended up on TV also.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yes.
Yes. That's where I get that from him, not my mom.
You both are entertainers in a sense, right?
In a sense, right.
Confident.
So he was on this TV show, think like a American Bandstand kind of thing.
It's a big deal.
Solid Gold kind of thing.
Yeah.
Soul Train kind of thing.
Hey, don't knock Solid Gold.
Right. So he was on a TV show and then he had a career. He also worked for the government. He had a career as a lifelong dance instructor.
That's a great job.
And my claim to fame for him is his student won Brazil's Dancing with the Stars the first season as the dancer, not the celebrity, the dancer.
That's kind of huge.
Yeah.
That's
And I got to meet him too.
wow. Oh, I love this. What
Right.
a fantastic
It's a fun
story.
little chapters.
Fantastic. All that. I mean, I could probably talk another hour with you, but I know my producer's like, okay, you guys have been
And
talking
plus I
forever.
got to save it for my book.
Oh, yeah. We got to save a little for the book. So,
Yeah.
okay, last question,
Yeah.
and we're going to wrap it up.
Okay.
Looking back, what advice would you give to others who may be searching for their bio parents? Is it a good idea? I mean, it sounds like it was very positive for you. But
I have found there's a whole movement of people who are searching or have searched for their biological family. And the guy, Jeff Forney, he uses the line that we all want to know our chapter 1, where we came from.
yeah.
And some people have beautiful stories and some have painful
You're so
stories.
lucky. I always ask my parents, was it possible I was switched at birth?
Really?
I'm so different than you. Are you sure?
Well, when I'm with my biological father, I know that I am his daughter.
It makes
We have the same long, skinny arms.
I
Yeah,
saw a
same
picture
narrow
of you
face.
too. Can we? Is it okay if we put a picture of you and your dad together that you've posted on Instagram with the footage?
Yeah,
from
one that I
this?
posted. I
Yeah.
have a ton because I've been
Oh,
documenting this
I'm
the whole
sure.
time. I
Yeah.
haven't
I
put it out
noticed
there yet.
one of those pictures. I couldn't believe the resemblance between
Really?
the two of you. Yeah, I could see. I mean, I don't know what your mother looked like, but I mean, maybe you look a lot like her too. But you know, I could definitely see that there was.
I
a
think
family
more so
resemblance.
him. In
Yeah.
fact, I got off the airplane and his son said,
Like right in here. Huh?
"You look more like him than I do."
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, but
And father says to me, "You look just like my mother."
oh, you know, that makes complete sense because my dad always had this theory that daughters always look like their fathers and sons always look like their mothers. And in our family, that was the case. But my dad looked like his mother and I looked like my dad. So I kind of looked like my grandmother did, which is kind of the same thing. Like they're seeing those resemblances now. They're making those connections.
That's the first thing my father said to me.
Yeah.
"You look like my mother."
Isn't that something?
How cool is that for him?
Yeah, it's like it's kind of incredible.
Yeah.
Kind of incredible. Wow. Well, this was a really fun interview.
Oh, thank you.
I know. Was it hard being on the other side?
It's not my favorite spot.
I
I'd
can
rather
imagine.
fire questions at you.
You know, that's really funny you say that because I like being on this side also better.
Really? Yeah.
I do. It's much easier being the person that's asking the questions and the person that's like on the spot.
But you
know?
gotta keep in mind, as a journalist, I'm trained not to talk about myself.
Right.
I'm trained to pry stuff out of you.
Right,
And
right,
talk about
right.
you and be curious about you. So it's
Right.
it's a weird feeling. And I never really like to talk about myself.
Well, I'm not a journalist, obviously, but like my take on it is for me because I like to keep it conversational because that's not my job here.
Right.
My job is to keep it conversational so that people can see a conversation between two people that are talking about some really interesting things. So we're like letting them spy on our conversation.
If you find it interesting, that's on you.
Yeah, that's your problem. Yeah.
Yeah. If you think it's interesting, I never find myself too interesting, but
Yeah.
okay.
But you know, it's just everybody has a story. And I find that every person has an interesting story.
They do.
Every
They do.
single person. I could put anybody in that seat.
They really do.
And I would probably be fascinated. I would find something because
Yes.
if nothing else, what motivates people to do things is the most fascinating thing to me in the world. Why they have done the things they've done with their lives.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, you know, when you learn what makes people tick, it makes everything make sense sometimes.
It's like you said, everybody has a story.
Everyone does. And thank you for sharing
Oh,
yours.
thank you.
So it was great having Christine on our show today. She is going to be our final episode of season 2. And I warned her about that. So yeah, we've already surpassed our 50th episode of Pep Talks with Jeannie. And you are right up there. I think you're going to be like 51 or 52.
We talked about it for a minute, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
just making my way down here to make it happen.
I know. I'm so thrilled that you got here. You got in before the end. There were many people that wanted this spot. But
oh my gosh! Wow. Well, I can look forward to the next season.
Right?
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I love being in your studio. Of course, my studio is Fox 11 News. I'm on at 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can find us at foxla.com or the Fox Local app. And I'm at Devine News, Devine News.
Hashtag Blaze It Forward is a campaign my family started in 2018 after our son Blaze was murdered. Hashtag Blaze It Forward provides the inspiration to thousands of people to repair the world with intentional acts of kindness. If you would like to learn more about Blaze and how you can make a difference, check out www.blazebernstein.org or join our Facebook group at hashtag Blaze It Forward. You can also check out my website for this podcast at www.PeppTalksWithJeanne.com. There you can follow along with my podcasting adventures and learn more about my fascinating guests and their passion projects. I would like to thank all of the volunteers who help make my philanthropic endeavors a reality. Today, that includes my producer, Eli Moskowitz, all of the volunteer crew members who join us, and a special thank you to my son, Jay Bernstein, for the original theme song you hear at the beginning and ending of each show. This has been another episode of Pep Talks with Jeannie. Until next time, keep on making this world a better place.